So first, I'm going to refute my opponent's argument about the death penalty and deterrence. She claimed that it doesn't really matter whether or not deterrence is occurring from the death penalty. It only matters whether or not people feel like it is. And I don't think that it's valid to take into consideration what people believe when it comes to life and death. It's someone's life, and you can't just ignore the fact that there is or isn't deterrence because someone believes something that may or may not be true. Another thing my opponent mentioned was that popular opinion is important, and we actually have statistics that claim that majority of Americans favor punishments other than the death penalty. For example, 39% of the public would prefer life without parole plus restitution, life with parole, or life without parole. The death penalty only accounted for 33% of the popular opinion. The next argument I want to refute is the claim that since the person committing the crime denied the victim the right to life, they shouldn't be given the right to life either. The way I see that is being violent against criminals is not going to solve any crimes in this country, and that's just being revengeful. I have a quote, and it basically talks about the whole retribution aspect of pro-death penalty people. It says, retribution is just another word for revenge, and the desire for revenge is one of the lowest human emotions. To kill the person who has killed someone close to you is simply continuing the cycle of violence, which ultimately destroys the avenger as well as the offender. It is a myth that execution somehow gives closure to a tragedy. Another thing our opponents brought up is the appeal system, and since it's so exhaustive, it really kind of kills any chance for error being happening or innocent people being killed. We actually have evidence that says 87 people have been freed from death row because they were later proven innocent, which is an error rate for every innocent person to 7 people executed. So for every 7 people that are executed, that's an error that one of those people was probably innocent. And I mean, one life being killed that shouldn't have been killed is too many. This is from a U.S. Senator at the National Death Penalty Moratorium in 2000. So that was a long time ago. There's probably been more people that have been killed that were innocent. We'd also like to present a new argument. There is obvious racial bias and socioeconomic bias in the death penalty rulings. I have a quote from the NAACP. It says, despite the fact that African Americans make up only 13% of the nation's population, almost 50% of those currently on federal death row are African American. The U.S. Department of Justice's own figures reveal that between 2001 and 2006, 48% of defendants in federal cases in which death penalty was sought were African Americans. So not only are there more African Americans on death row, judges are more likely to give a death penalty sentence to African Americans, in the federal system at least. There is also proof that poorer people are more likely to be given the death penalty than richer people. This evidence comes from a law professor, the University of New York School of Law. And just to quickly summarize the quote, it says, the legacy of racial apartheid, racial bias, and ethnic discrimination are unavoidably evident in the administration of capital punishment in America. Death sentences are imposed in a criminal justice system that treats you better if you are rich and guilty than if you are poor and innocent. So from the morality aspect of it, from the innocent people being murdered. Those are all reasons we should abolish the death penalty.